Welcome to another podcast. It's here. I almost forgot the name of my own podcast. Our podcast. Production of Galactic Netcast. With me, as always, Corey, Big Daddy Spork, Scott. Corey, how are you doing?
I am fine. How are you doing this week?
I'm good. I'm fucking great. It's great. I got after this, I'm gonna make toad in a hole, the recipe I got from Daryl from the Humpy Bits of the UK. I'm pretty excited. I got a lot of sausage. So that's all I got going on. But joining us this week is the proprietor of, I'm going to butcher this name, Denora Cosplay.
That's close.
Ah,
Daniel.
damn it.
Daniora.
Fuck you, Corey. And the co-host of the Overcast podcast, Amy Motherfucking Frost.
What's up? What's up?
How are you
I like
doing?
it. I like it. I like this show because I can get an actual intro using my real name, which is, of course, Amy fucking Frost. Because, that's how I go. But I'm excited about this, guys. I really am.
We will
No,
run that shit for you right now.
That's fine. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm glad you're excited. I thought for a while you were just avoiding us, saying that your internet was out.
Oh,
Air
God.
quote
That was
for
a
those listening.
freaking nightmare for days.
We'll get into a Comcast hate speech in a little bit. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact info, subscription links, go to gncasts.com/pot, P-O-T. For other shows from the Galactic Netcast, go to gncast.com. If you've never listened to this, we're pretty spoiler heavy. We're going to talk about Pan's Labyrinth a little later. So if you haven't listened to, watched, or anything pertaining to that movie, you should do that first. And Corey thinks that we need to mention that we fucking swear a lot.
We swear. Also, not just in proper names like Amy's middle name, but
Yeah, no.
realistically, we harsh your mellow with the curses.
Dick and fart jokes all day.
Outstanding.
Before we get into it, Amy, what do you do?
What do I do? I am working on becoming a full-time cosplayer and costume maker, which is very exciting and a lot of fucking work. Let me tell you. I actually, not just 2 minutes before we began recording, made my first Etsy sale after launching my store like 3 months ago. So that's
Well,
like all super.
Plug your store right now, and then.
All right, so the easiest way to get to my Etsy store is with the direct link danyoracosplay.com. That is DANIORA cosplay.com. That goes right to my Etsy store. There's not a whole lot up on there right now. I'm adding stuff as I go, but it's there.
You have leather cod pieces.
I could. I mean, if that's what you want.
I need like an extra extra large to cover my extra extra large dong.
Right, so.
Dong is actually a fish in the cod family.
We can go that route.
Perfect.
So apparently you take special orders on costumes.
I do also take. I mostly do at this point. I mostly do like pieces, accessories, hats, masks, goggles, horns, that kind of stuff. Full costumes are hard to do to make a living on. They're a lot of work and a lot of sizing that doing for someone that's not, nearby can be a little rough. But I mean, we can talk about anything.
And do you have a site to go to for pieces that you've made that you've modeled yourself?
Yes, that would be my Facebook page, facebook.com/Daniora Cosplay. Same spelling. And that's where I put like all my in-progress stuff, all my pictures. I have a good friend who's a photographer, and he and I have been doing some photo shoots in my cosplay stuff. So it's very fun to have real pictures of this stuff.
And that should give people an idea as to some of the kind of things that you are capable of doing that aren't necessarily listed on your store yet, so that they can
Right,
hit you up for
exactly.
those kind of things.
Exactly.
So how do you become a full-time cosplayer?
I'm still figuring that part out. But, I mean, in the last...
A path. I can barely dress myself, so I don't know how to dress as someone else.
Yeah, no, in the last couple of years, I've seen, at least three cosplayers that I've followed, on the internet go from it being their hobby to quitting their full-time job.
Well,
So,
you figure
you know.
nowadays you can be a full-time asshole who talks at a computer and
Right.
make a living doing so. So why not be able, just
Patreon.com/GalacticNetcasts.
Yeah, I mean, you can do all that kind of shit. So,
I wasn't talking about us. I was talking about those idiots who make stupid YouTube videos and just make a killing.
Well, you
Right.
shouldn't have said the asshole word, because that just fucking threw me right up for a loop.
yeah, no.
Had to be about us.
Assumed.
That's-
Yeah, there's I mean, there are even companies that will hire cosplayers to go to conventions, and so you just kind of have to catch their attention. So I've got a convention at the end of March where there's a company that's going to be there that's hosting a cosplay contest. So
Near your area of the country?
No, in Chicago, it is Adepticon. It's a sort of a tabletop gaming convention.
When?
Where it's the end of March, last weekend of March, beginning of April.
Oh.
And it's not like a huge cosplay centered convention like, say, a Dragon Con is, but one of the game companies, Weird Miniatures, that does sort of a steampunky French style game, they are having a cosplay contest, which is perfect for me. So
Damn it.
yeah, I'm excited.
I know you've never listened to our show ever.
No, who's got time for that shit?
Travis, who is a past guest of ours, the tour will actually be in Chicago on that Sunday.
Ah.
They're going to be in Milwaukee the next day, so I'm not. Fuck Chicago.
Yeah, well.
But I was going to say we could get drunk.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're a classy lady who only drinks wine. Or whatever.
I mean, I'm not saying I've ever put a crazy straw in a bottle of wine, but it's fine. It's all fine.
I'd actually be upset if you haven't.
No, it's good. It's good, but I thought I'd class things up today. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't going to drink, and then Amy showed up and brought down property values.
Not the first guy to ever say that.
Ride this train directly into hell, so I grabbed a giant beer myself.
Yeah.
Before, I don't want to gloss over your podcast too, the Overcast podcast. What is that about?
So Blizzard has their new game coming out. It's their first brand new intellectual property in like decades. And so I do that show with my good friend at JF Dubo. And this game's not out yet. This game is just now in closed beta.
There was an open beta for a while, right? Because
there was a beta weekend where it wasn't open per se, but they definitely invited way more people. It was a stress test on their servers. And it's Blizzard's version of a first-person shooter. And it's really cool the way they've done it. And they've, rather than, running around a map to find your gun, like you do in so many first-person shooters, you just play the character you want. So if you want to be a sniper, you don't have to go chase down the sniper rifle, you just play the sniper. It's going to be way more than a game. They have already teased the graphic novel and the animated shorts. There's absolutely going to be a movie at some point, but it's a really cool world. The entire game takes place after this robot uprising. So it's really cool. And this sort of it winds up being, it's a dystopian future that still has Blizzard's sort of happy twist on it, which is kind of cool.
I learned more about Overwatch in the 2 minutes of you talking than the weekend I spent playing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the game is sort of its own thing. You don't necessarily get a whole lot of the world building in the game itself. More now, because they added way more little voice bits in between the characters, so you're getting a lot more story bits there. But
I also am an American and want satisfaction now.
Yeah, well.
That's how we operate here, in case you weren't aware, which you weren't, because you never listened to our show before. So
that's true. We do nothing but satisfy people.
Never gonna break.
2 hands at a time.
Well, Jesus Christ. Thanks for being here. It's kind of been a long time coming. You and I keep missing each other in
we do.
Various podcasts we've been on, so I'm happy to have you here. It's nice to formally meet you. Internet.
Hi. Yeah, internet handshake. Yeah, no, it's good.
But yeah, thanks again. So we'll get into the news, apparently. So I'm so excited about this. Dee Snider finally making a sequel to Strangeland. Strangeland sums up high school for me. It has the soundtrack to my teenage angst. It fucking Dee Snider from Twisted Sister in a horror movie. God, I watched this movie so many times.
Also, the 3 months that you spent in between your senior and freshman years, just basically sitting in a cage getting your nipples sewn together.
Like you do.
When did I pierce my nipples? It probably would have been around my senior year of high school. Yeah, right.
I like that you're not wrong. That's good.
Excellent.
The more you know. But yeah, and so the sequel's been a long time coming, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we did The Exorcist. Like, I saw Strangeland before I saw The Exorcist, and I did not realize that Captain Howdy was really from The Exorcist. So when you kind of put it all together, it's fucking cool. And it's like, oh, it's kind of a cool concept for a movie. At least it was then.
Yeah,
Not so much now, because that's pretty overplayed. But I'm curious to see where it goes. So for anyone who's seen, have you seen it, Amy?
I have not.
Come on.
I know.
So the original is about Dee Snider, who plays Carlton Hendricks, who goes by the internet alias Captain Howdy, who uses the internet to lure young women into his torture lair. There's nipples getting sewn together, mouths getting sewn shut, and kind of he lures this police officer's daughter into his sex dungeon, and the cop goes to get him. Which was it a Wahlberg?
I don't believe the cop was a Wahlberg in this. I think you're thinking of Saw 3.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta look up the soundtrack because they had fucking Soulfly and Dee Snider's Seven Dust, Dave Mustaine, Pantera, Anthrax, Snot, Cold Chamber, Bile. Bile was in the movie. Fucking Marilyn Manson, Soulfly, Head Pee. Woof. If you follow Dave's drinking game of every time I mention a band name you have to drink, you should be drunk right now.
Well, that implies I'm not already, so.
You hold yourself together very well if you're not already drunk.
Also, anybody who's paying really close attention to the audio, as Matt was reading off those band names, you could hear his nipples ting together.
Yeah, it's very real hard. Yeah, so that's really it. They're starting to assemble the team. No filming, no nothing other than Dee Snider. So that'll be chest dicks in the future.
I mean, we're talking about 18 years at this point since the original came out, and to try to follow up on that, I don't know if it's going to be around a lot of the same characters on it, or if it's just his character coming back. But
so if they stick to the original, don't mind me. If the original sequel storyline is that a year after he's imprisoned, after the what takes place in the first movie, some rich guy like pays to boost him out of jail, and then takes him off his meds, and like makes him do everything over again, or urges him to do it. So it's just kind of a future of the first movie, but you can't really. Dee Snider can be in it, but like all the teenage girls and stuff can't be, because 18 years to a teenager versus 18 years to an old man is too.
Well, they could have a follow up like they had with Nancy in between the first and the third Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yeah, it could. I'm sure whatever they do will be mediocre at best, but the 18-year-old me will love the shit out of it.
I mean, what else has Dee Snider got going on?
Some shitty radio show that's on at midnight.
There's a new Pee Wee Herman movie. Maybe we'll get another cameo.
Wait, what? Dee Snider was on
Twizzit's sister was in a cameo in the original Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure film. And Pee Wee Herman has a new movie coming out straight to Netflix.
Which is crazy to me, but I guess 2016, you can whip your dick out in public and still have a TV show.
Unfortunately, the problem is going to be that the villain in this is not going to be Dee Snider himself, but when Comcast goes out in the middle of it and he can no longer get himself young ladies to tie up in his basement.
How would that be?
On the phone with customer service.
45 minutes of Strangeland 2 is just Dee Snider.
We apologize, Captain Howdy. Comcast appreciates your business.
Perfect.
That's funny. And you both have Comcast, right?
And we both had shitty Comcast experiences over the last week or two.
Yep.
I'm just riding Time Warner cable into the sunset. No problems.
Usually it's them riding you. In communist Russia, Comcast rides you. Yeah, so it should be a time to see how they update this comparatively. People have not gotten any smarter online than they were in 1998.
No.
They've actually gotten a lot stupider. So, hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for listening. Have we got some links for you to click?
we should make one of our links is like a form, like a hate form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you hate our faces right now? Just make it go up to like 11.
Yeah.
Your face. Moving on. Apparently, a new Hellraiser movie started shooting this month with Heather Langenkamp.
Who we were just speaking of.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane because she didn't really do anything for a long time, at least notable. And all of a sudden, she's in a new Hellraiser. Plus, I also found a link. She's in a new movie called Home that's coming out on DVD on March 1st.
Huh.
Another horror movie. Yeah, both were announced on the same day too. Oh, maybe she ran out of Nightmare on Elm Street money.
She was taken to the Twitter. Yeah, unfortunately, as far as I understand it, Doug Bradley is not going to be in this one. He had some issues with signing a non-disclosure agreement with the writer/director of it, and he's like, no, there's no way I'm going to sign something that says I owe $1 million that I don't have to even just get to see the script. And the guy's like, well, that's kind of what you do in Hollywood to see scripts nowadays. That's not weird. Just don't talk shit about it. But so they're going with another Pinhead. I kind of feel like at this point, Hellraiser needs to get away from the Pinhead character altogether if they're not going to use Doug Bradley in these things. It's just Hellraiser is itself an idea, and Pinhead was, of course, what we associate with it from the beginning. But they killed off Pinhead in the second movie. They didn't have to keep bringing him back. They may have known that they were going to shoot themselves in the dick by doing that, a la Michael Myers in Halloween 3. But realistically, if you keep with the themes of it, maybe there's a way to change it up enough so that you don't have to have these things be beholden to the one actor that everybody wants to see play that character. I love Pinhead, and I love his rendition of Pinhead, but maybe try something new if you're going to keep running into this problem.
Yeah, but they used that other guy in, what was it, 8 or 9, who wasn't Doug Bradley because Doug Bradley was doing other Doug Bradley things.
Yeah, and how'd that go?
Well, the movie was fucking terrible to begin with. It had nothing to do with the guy who was playing Pinhead.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have the opportunity to do something interesting, I mean, why not?
Oh, I completely. If someone called me up and they're like, "Hey, you want to be in the new Hellraiser movie? You will get paid nothing." I'd just say yes. I'm not an actor.
Yes.
I'd say yes to that dress. Yeah, I guess I don't know if there's no name or no anything.
They haven't said anything yet. There were some names dropped that were potentials, but just kind of like maybe pie in the sky things. Like Ray Fiennes was somebody that was mentioned as possibly playing Pinhead. I don't know what to make of that, man.
No.
Which is crazy that they could keep something a secret for so long, with the internet being like the internet is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The internet's only for pornography, anyways.
That's why it's yummy. Yeah, and isn't Barker himself working on a relaunch of Hellraiser at some point too? So this isn't even that. This is a continuation of the other series.
I have no idea. I'm googling it. Hellraiser reboot. Yeah, he's apparently all the stuff's from 2014.
Yeah.
So even if it was, it probably fell on its face. Now, is Pinhead in Death House?
The actor is.
Doug Bradley's in Death House.
I believe he was one of the ones that was listed in Death House.
So I wonder if he's busy doing Death House, and that's why he's not doing this Hellraiser.
No, I don't know that there was much of a conflict of time and everything. If this hasn't even started filming yet, if Death House is already going, I really feel like he was kind of offended of, you're sending me an NDA when you're asking me to play the character that I'm sort of known for. Maybe you just make some exceptions at this point. And then he went online and he tweeted about how he made Taylor Swift what she was, and Saturday Night Live was some bullshit. And, oh, no, I was reading a different feed.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Now I can't help but think about Amber Rose sticking her finger up Pinhead's ass. So...
What?
Keep up with modern events.
Wow.
This is your fault. You put me on Twitter. I don't know. I'm excited to see more Hellraiser, but I'm always prepared to be completely disappointed by new Hellraiser.
That seems healthy. I mean,
it's like when my wife tries to get me to go to bed with her. Okay, you know what you're getting. At this point.
I mean, how do you can't really rewrite, like, how do you make a more interesting Hellraiser story when it centers around someone finds a box, they open the box, the Cenobites torture them, the box closes, someone else gets the box. That's what every movie is. But the first and this I wouldn't even really say the second was good, but the first one was really good because it was a more thought out concept, because it was
First
new.
two were pretty good. I mean, the first one was great because it was completely original. The second one was good as a follow-up. It changed things enough. Third one had somebody throwing CDs at people and getting them embedded in their brains just to be 90s. That sucked. Somewhere along the lines, they had the one where it was a whole building. That was actually kind of cool again.
They had the one where it was like an MMO too.
Yeah.
I think that was 5 or 6 or something silly, and then the last one included hookers in Tijuana. And I'm not even kidding.
Hellraiser Donkey Show.
Yeah, there was Pinhead was in front, and the chattering guy was in back, just going to town on a donkey.
Speaking of going to town, you can help Galactic Netcast by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/galacticnetcast and help keep the network going. Just donate as little as $1 a month, and we'll go to town on making these podcasts for you. Month in, month out, week in, week out. I don't know. I can't count anymore. I'm really tired. On top of that, you can help out a couple of our sponsors, StratosphereMerch.com, where you can use the code TERROR for 15% off your entire order, or help out Matt Vincent at thehate.com, THEHVIII.com, and use our coupon code KICK15 for 15% off there. All proceeds go to these people, not to us, but we don't care. We like them.
Matt just posted a new 3/4 sleeve length shirt.
I was looking at that. That was a pretty nice shirt.
I don't like baseball shirts, otherwise I would have bought one.
Yeah, well,
They make t-shirts out of it. I can give them more of my money.
I wish I was a baller. I wish I was a little bit taller.
I wish I had a girl so I could call her.
Yeah.
Something about a rabbit in a hat, too. No. 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 If I knew the words to an informer, I'd start rapping them.
Oh, God damn it, please don't do so.
So, we're here to talk about Pan's Labyrinth.
We are.
This was your pick, Amy.
This was my pick.
Told you fully.
In the interest of all things podcast-ish, what the fuck did we just watch?
I have not read this much on a Sunday morning in a long fucking time.
All right, well, so I feel like I should start by telling you my very complex relationship with horror, because I'm a fucking pansy, like 100%, like terrified of everything. So, you know, you guys are like, hey, you should come on our horror show, and I'm like, you know who you're dealing with here? No, all right,
you were not
fine.
our first.
That's fine.
Listen to our show. You know that this is.
No, I know that there's been others, but I'm just saying, you know, so. I mean, Shaun of the Dead already covered, which is sort of your entry-level scary movie kind of thing. Like, as my highlight of horror, though, because my little sister loves horror, and so she and her friends, when they were, like, you know, in high school, used to love to, like, watch horror movies. So one night, they're all in the den watching Chucky, so I went and found my Cabbage Patch, and I, like, snuck into the doorway and threw that shit at them. You've never heard children scream like that. And that was
well, Matt has, but we won't ever find those people.
Well, no. I mean, they're gone now. But sort of your creepy fantasy horror, yeah. No, I'm into that. This one's pretty fucked up. I should tell you, I wanted to love this movie when it came out in the theater because I had fallen in love with Hellboy 2.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, all those critters in the troll market and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, no, because in the previews, you know, this movie looks like that. The sadistic, you know, militant captain there does not show up a whole lot in the previews.
Commercials. Yeah.
So I was not prepared. I was like, no, Doug Jones, who is my like secret internet crush. Like, I love Doug Jones. He is my hero. And so, you know, Doug Jones, like, being crazy, creepy characters. Yeah, I'm in. And then I went to the theater to see this, and it scared the fuck out of me, I'm not going to lie.
Which is crazy, because, like, I don't feel like the fawn was meant to be scary, but he was.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole, like, this movie is, like, a strange anomaly, in my opinion, because it's not really supposed to be a horror movie, but it still comes across as being fucking creepy. Like, the asshole with the eyeballs and the
yeah.
Skip's arm base, who's got flappies.
Yeah, the flappy arms, yeah.
Wait.
He's called the Tailman.
Is it? Oh, so Doug Jones played both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Doug Jones played both of them, which they say was actually kind of part of the story. I don't know that I buy that, but I think it's just because if you're going to put somebody in makeup, like if you want the god of practical effects, you get Doug Jones.
Yeah. Doug Jones with Del Toro. I mean, you can't get a better combination than that.
Kind of
I
simple.
have correction.
Yeah, I mean, me too, but
I don't.
You know.
This is like this would be like asking me to cosplay. Talking about this, like these are two very different things. Like Doctor Who, like this is not my.
Everyone assumes I like Doctor Who. I've never watched Doctor Who. I just smile and nod.
Doctor Who can fuck itself. Not understand nor care for that TV show.
I have more problems with some members of the fandom. Like I'm sure I would enjoy Doctor Who, but then I tell people I haven't watched it, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Okay, guys, let's
see." You're more like into, I hate to say it, nerd culture. Like my people, the dirty tattooed people who listen to the music that no one can understand, and Doctor Who people, we don't cross paths.
Just at the Hot Topic. That's the only place where you guys hang out.
I do not wear like black stovepipe pants with chains and shit.
Well, that's your problem, really.
I wear cargo shorts like an adult. Somehow I'm married. I order black T-shirts off the internet so that they come.
There you go. You don't have to go.
Because you're so goth, you don't want to be around people at the mall.
Let's see. I'm sure my hair is long enough where I can cover my eyes. I had some eyeliner.
Yep.
I could even do the swoopy.
I like the swoop.
Yeah.
If
I had to, it's like I can get the business look going. I can comb it over, but
you're straight up chimp right now, actually.
What?
You are though.
So this movie is a horror movie more in the real life events,
absolutely,
I think, than it is in the fantastical events. Although there's some there. Certainly, the Pale Man is creepy. The little fairies that get their faces bit off, named Cheech and Chong, I guess, in the credits. They have a bad time. They wind up having a bad time. But most of this movie is maybe a little too much like Sucker Punch to me in a way, or at least Inception of like, hey, my life really sucks because I'm in the middle of this really horrific war, and I'm gonna have little fantasy stories that I escape to instead.
Yeah, but most people when they escape to their little fantasy stories, it's some happy place where everything's cool and awesome, and not creepy ass dudes with eyeballs in their hands and
and then the girl drowns like a Bridge to Terabithia and fucks up my childhood completely.
Yeah, no, it's good. Nothing's creepier than a kid, though.
That's true.
It's very true. I feel like a lot of what made it creepier is like the Pan character, the Fawn, was like a normal thing that everyone heard about as a child, and here it's in this fantasy movie, and they make it fucking terrifying with huge horns and white eyeballs, and it does weird things like yell at you for eating just 2 grapes. It was only 2 grapes.
Listen, no, everybody knows anytime you go into any sort of fantasy banquet, you don't eat shit.
Nope.
If Persephone hadn't eaten, 6 pomegranate seeds, we wouldn't have winter. So you eat things in a fantasy setting, and that fucks everything up.
Except for the adult Peter Pan, because Bangarang.
Yeah. But
I
mean,
what you're glossing over is the fact that these are both women who did not listen.
It's true.
I mean, if a woman listen once in a while, we wouldn't have these problems.
You can send your hate mail to @cheatingcast.com. Care of Matt Stein. Just look him up in the phone book and stalk him.
Yep.
Who uses a phone book anymore? This is America.
I don't know. They still pass them out.
They do.
They're like condoms. It's like no one's using this shit, but somehow they keep flying up in my phone.
This is fucking still in business. Eventually, but no, the Trojan will never go out of business because they make personal lubricants. I saw some in the clearance aisle at Walmart the other day, so maybe no one is buying it.
I don't really like the fact that they're called Trojans because it's about sneaking something into places that's not supposed to be there. So half of the story is taking place. This girl and her mother go to stay with who is now the girl's stepfather. She doesn't like him. he's a real asshole.
He is an asshole.
And and the mom's like, you should call him father. It's just a word. It's gonna be okay. He's taking really good care of us. I'm pregnant and probably gonna die soon, but let's all be nice to the new daddy in the fucking war zone that we're in.
Mostly because he hasn't fucking killed us yet.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly
let's
it.
maybe hang on to that.
He's being really good to us because we're both still alive and not just being used as sex toys for his army.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a plus, right?
Maybe.
So, do you think that there's a possibility that and I could have missed this part of the story. God knows I miss a lot of shit that's right in front of me because I'm dumb. But all of the stuff that took place with the fawn is just imagination.
I mean, that's sort of a Del Toro thing. I think you never really know. Apparently, I just learned this. Apparently, this is sort of not a sequel, but a spiritual successor to another Del Toro film that I have not seen, called The Devil's Backbone. But it's I mean, it could absolutely just all be sort of her fever dream or something.
There are certain things that make it seem that way. It's certainly that the adults who don't believe in the magic don't get to witness or experience it.
Right.
Towards the end, when she's talking to the fawn, the Vidal guy comes up behind her and doesn't see her talking to anybody. Sees her talking, but there's
right,
nobody
but
there.
The fawn's not there. Yeah.
The Mercedes character sees that she's drawn a doorway on her wall in her room when they go to find her, but it's still just a chalk drawing. Obviously, nothing's ever come of it, but she's done this. And there is the mandrake root that is underneath the bed that Vidal accuses her of. Why is this under your mother's bed? When it was supposedly making her mother heal, and for a while there, her mother did feel better because of it, or seemingly because of it. And then as soon as she throws it in the fire, she basically gets overwhelmed with the contractions and has the baby and dies. So there's some things that it's definitely left as a mystery as to whether or not it's real.
Right.
But she's experiencing it. She's seeing it and she believes it, and there are things that are kind of reactions to it that happen.
Right.
And since they open, go ahead.
That's sort of a thing that happens in a lot of that kind of stuff where magic is only usable or visible to the innocent.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's always that. You know, fairies only appear to children, unicorns only appear to virgins, and let's face it, that's why there aren't unicorns around anymore. And yeah, you know, so I mean, there's a lot of that happens too. So it could still be quote unquote real, but.
Well, the reason I asked is when Corey, you mentioned the mandrake root scene, and when the dickhead pulls it out of the milk and throws it in the fire, there's like a brief second until it starts screaming, and when it does scream, like no one pays any attention to the fact that this root is now screaming in a fire.
Well, the mom is the one who throws it in the fire. Vidal had already left the room, and then the mom throws it in the fire, and then she starts having the pains as it's dying in the fire. So she's reacting to her own thing and maybe misses it, but it obviously, yeah, I think everybody else who would be around would freak the fuck out if that was actually happening.
Yeah.
If they're paying that close attention, or they could just... Part of the whole thing with fantasy is that people who are mundane don't react to things. They excuse it from their minds. In role-playing games, there's the masquerade with vampire. It's like, how much stuff will people actually allow themselves to believe, or will they gloss over things that are unexplainable and just kind of like chalk it up to their own excuses in their heads? X-Files is a little bit like that too.
Right.
You just melted my brain.
Yeah. But you can later on say that it's because you had low blood sugar.
Oh, I think my blood sugar is pretty high. There's fruits in this beer. I feel like, and I'm gonna equate this to when talking about like paranormal experiences or ghosts and shit with people. The people who don't understand it, and you show them some sort of proof, are always like, yeah, but that could be this or that or a shadow or something. So I agree with what you're saying, and it really depends on the perception of the person. So if you believe that this is potentially something that can happen, and it happens, then you agree with that. Whereas if you don't, then, like you said, you just kind of like, maybe I'm high as a kite right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit Don Quixote.
Yep.
Don Quixote.
Yes.
Yes.
um,
Where he's fighting dragons and beasts and things that he sees in his mind when he's actually just kind of
that's
crazy.
Fighting a
think
windmill.
that's bad acid, actually.
Yeah.
No. Right. I guess I'm alone on the old bad acid trip. Yeah, this movie's fucked up. I'm trying to think of like other specific things.
The only other thing that I can say in relation to whether it's real or not, as far as the movie itself is concerned, is that it opens telling us the story of the princess, and it ends telling us how the princess's life goes on. So outside of her living and dying, there's a story that's happening that is the end pieces of this film. So in that regard, it's a fable. It's a fairy tale fable that they're trying to tell. So I think, as far as the film is concerned, it's real.
Right. I mean, you've got the fig tree coming back to life because she got rid of the toad that was living underneath it.
Yeah.
As one of those little touches that was left by the princess from her time on Earth. So, as far as that, yeah, as far as the story's concerned.
It's all there for the people who are able to see it, is what it says, essentially.
Right.
You guys are
I think that's the filmmaker telling us, hey, if you guys want to believe in this, then you can believe in this, and it'll be true. And for the people who don't believe in it, it's not true. It's a glass half full.
Which I think is the correct approach to it, because there's really no wrong answer. You can either believe that it's all in her head and she's making all this stuff up, or you can believe that it really happened.
Yeah, I can't imagine a better way to write a modern day fable or fairy tale than to say, it's true as long as you choose to believe it.
All I can say is that I'm not happy that it was like you get to the end and it was just a dream.
Yeah, no.
Drive me nuts. I would have gotten real upset with you, Amy, for picking this movie if it ended because of a dream.
I wouldn't have done that to you.
You don't lie to me.
Yeah.
You should see some of the shit I make Corey watch. I'm like, this movie's gonna be so great. And it's not good at all.
None of it has been a dream, as much as I've wished in the end that it would be.
You wake up every morning and you're like, oh, I really watched that.
Yeah.
Seriously? Fucking wrestler as Santa Claus? What did we do?
That was a good movie. I'm gonna make you watch Psycho Cop one of these days.
I look forward to it.
It's actually a really good movie. It's early 80s, and did either of you watch The Office?
Yeah.
The guy who plays Bob Vance is Psycho Cop, and it's all like police-related one-liners, and then he kills people. So he like tells the guy, "You have the right to remain silent," and then like jams his nightstick down their throat.
Outstanding.
Yes, it's really good. They made the second one too, but that's a different day. All in all, I really did like this movie. Don't get me wrong. I like this movie.
Yeah.
I liked this movie before we got to this point, and it's just nothing. It's not something I would really sit down and be like, I think I'm gonna watch Pan's Labyrinth tonight. I'm really in the mood to fucking lose my mind.
Yeah. I really want to watch somebody torture the shit out of a couple guys.
Yeah, and then get his face split open like the Joker in the Dark Knight.
That was so weird. I was doing our quote-unquote show notes, which are a shit show to begin with, but while I was watching shut up! Don't agree with my lack of effort.
No, we all agree. We're here for you, man.
It's fine.
We're supportive.
We don't even do show notes on my show, so it's fine.
Well, it's so that Corey knows when to reel me back in from getting off topic too far. I was putting in notes and shit, and I just look up and I forgot that there's like his mouth is just wide open. It's horrific. I know neither of you watch UFC, and I barely do either, but there was a fighter who had his whole lip split open, and they're interviewing him after the fight, and it was like moving. Horrifying. Disgusting.
Looks like when the Predator takes his mask off.
Yeah. What does Danny Glover call him? Pussy face?
Yeah,
pussy face.
He's just one ugly motherfucker.
Which they're making another Predator movie.
Yes, they are.
The Predator.
Yeah, the thing with this movie is that in some ways it's closer to a Grimm's fairy tale, the dark,
Yeah, the actual. We're
really
gonna
scary.
cut off your toe so that it'll fit in the shoe the prince brought around kind of fairy tale.
But it seems like in a lot of ways it could still be something that is somewhat age appropriate for kids to see as that, and then they involve a lot of really horrific violence in the real world and a lot of swearing and stuff like this show, kids.
Yeah.
Welcome.
No one's children should be listening to this.
Because talking about a nice little fairy tale.
This is what happens.
If you came to us from the Five Nights at Freddy's episode, that was just to feed you a lie. That was a total and utter lie.
The cake is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 people got that reference, and I think all 3 of them are sitting here right now.
Yeah,
only like 7 people listen to the show, so
that's true.
It could be worse. Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing else to talk about this movie. I just want to get back to talking about Amy's cosplay because cosplayers are intriguing to me.
All right. I'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Like, seriously. It's fine.
Where do babies come from?
But in cosplay.
But in cosplay babies.
Do you sew your own children?
When 2 nerds, I don't know, I've avoided them so far, so I'm doing all right.
High 5. No kids club.
Yeah. I'm the last one in my group of friends, too. So they're all kind of doing, like, the other last holdouts were, they just had one, like, 3 months ago. So now I'm like...
I guess as long as we're on the top, I have no problem with children. People
no.
Because my wife and I do not have kids, and we do not want to have kids, that we hate children. That's a lie.
No, I have... No. See, that's the thing. I have all my friends' kids, so I have, like, 11 of them now.
Yep.
That's fine. And, like, I make
We don't hate children. We hate your children. That's all it is.
Yeah, a lot of my very good... the Five Nights at Freddy's episode was done specifically for my friends' children.
Yeah.
So, it's fuck you, people. And the singer of our band has kids. I love his kids. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. But I make all their costumes and stuff like that, and they're all like, oh, if you had kids, you could do this for your kids. No, I fucking couldn't. No, I would not have time. I would be a miserable human being. I would hate everyone.
I prefer to play video games and eat pizza.
Yes. I'm awesome at those things.
My underwear.
Yep.
My best friend's kids are next generation nerds. One of them, he and his friends have his dad doing a superhero role-playing game for them on the weekends. They all go to the different cons for gameplay and stuff. Their daughter, I think when she was around 11 or so, she was telling the rules of the new game system to the guy that was running the test game at the convention. She's like, no, you just have to do this. And he's like, what? Really? She goes, yeah, let me show you.
One of my friends, he has 2 awesome little boys, and they love playing the D&D board games. That's like their favorite thing to do.
That's unheard of. Kids these days.
And they play Magic. Like for the littlest one just turned 6. And I gave him a custom Magic deck that I made for him for his birthday, and he flipped the hell out and immediately had to play me.
I can't imagine. Yeah, everyone get ready to drink. Billy the Fridge is a fat rapper from Seattle, and he wrote a song called Cardboard Crack, and it's about magic.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious. I don't know if you've ever listened to Billy the Fridge, but he's an enjoyable man to listen to. He is like I said, he's a big dude, and he wears like a donut around his neck on a chain. Billy the Fridge, if you listen, I got you. I got you, boo. So before we get back into talking about your cosplaying, we have to rate the movie. I give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5, mostly because I wanted more. I wanted more fantasy and less.
Honestly, by the end, I'm like, I've had enough. This can be over.
Nice stabbing.
Well, no, I think I agree with you. I'm at a 3 out of 5, but it's exactly for the same reasons as I wanted to be more of the fantasy stuff than the war stuff. The war stuff was not what I went into this wanting to see, and like what you said. And this is my first time out. I'm not going to say that I was hugely disappointed. It was just I was expecting something else, and I would have probably preferred that something else.
Yeah.
All in all, I think it was a success. Congratulations, Amy.
Thank you. I picked not a terrible movie.
No, that's what we're gonna do for you.
Next time you come back, I pick the movie.
That's fine.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. Because what fun is that if you watch something that you hate and I have you on to talk about you stuff, and then you know what
Why
I mean?
is it funny when you do it to me though? What the fuck?
You signed up for this.
I really did.
Asked me to be on this show.
God damn it! I'm like Kesha in this. This is terrible.
Dave set us up like some weird grinder setup. Here we are.
By the way, hashtag free Kesha.
Podcast speed dating.
I would spit on Kesha if she asked me to. So your cosplay.
Yeah.
Do you do specific characters or?
I've only relatively recently gotten into that. I started out. I've been doing costumes my whole life. My mom was amazing and made all my costumes for Halloween growing up. Halloween was a big deal when I was a kid. I sort of grew up in that golden age of Halloween where we went out like just about sunset and didn't come home until all the porch lights were out. You know, none of this 2 to 4:30 on a Sunday thing.
Yeah,
like,
fuck that noise.
No, none of that. Like I did real Halloween. And so then, you know, I outgrew Halloween, and so then I didn't have a reason to dress up anymore. I was like, oh, all right. So I did some theater. Yeah, well, I mean, you know.
Use the familiarity, but you're an attractive female. Always have the excuse to dress up.
That's true. But so I did some theater in high school and stuff like that. Then I got older and I started going to the Renaissance Fair. And we have a pretty awesome one here in Massachusetts. It's an awful lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because it doesn't take itself too seriously. Some of them do, but this one is pretty chill. So I got to dress up again. And then I started going to conventions. My first convention was PAX East because they very conveniently brought it here to Boston for me. And I didn't dress up my first year. But so many people were, and I was like, okay, all right, I can get into this. And then I learned about steampunk. And that was kind of a turning point. I was like, corsets and gears and goggles, and yeah, no, I can get in on this. So I built a steampunk outfit for myself, and that was sort of my first real like from the ground up cosplay that I put together. And then I started doing characters. I went to Nerdtacular, a convention in Utah for the Frog Pants Network. 2 years ago, I went and did my first ever character cosplay. I went as Housewife Harley Quinn, which was my own twist on Harley Quinn. I made her a 50s housewife. She had a little apron. I made a cake that she carried around, the wedding cake. There are pictures
on your Facebook.
I believe they are on my Facebook page. And if they are not now, they will be within the next half hour. For some reason, I don't have them up there. But yeah, there's absolutely pictures of my housewife Harley Quinn. And so that was my first character. And now with the Blizzard game Overwatch, there's a ton of characters in there that I love, and there's one in particular. Her name's Widowmaker. She is a French assassin, and she's all in shiny pink spandex, and it's terrifying.
The only character I can name from Overwatch is Widowmaker, and it's because of you've been talking about her since I first discovered you through Dave's Association, Sci-Fi Geeks clip, and everything. It was like, oh, okay. Oh, Overwatch. I don't know anything about Widowmaker. All right, now I know what
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's sort of my new thing, and they just released a whole bunch of new skins in the beta, and so now I want this game to do really, really well and become really, really popular.
Yeah, it's too bad Blizzard doesn't have a history
I know, they have no
success.
I know. But I mean, the way that, because some of my favorite cosplay that I've seen, it all comes from League of Legends, which I don't play. And so I want this to like reach that level of cosplay fame because it's got so many cool.
Did you ever play Dota?
I did a little.
So I'm sure you're aware Dota and League of Legends are very similar.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're also very similar in the fact that if you are a new player and you don't know what you're doing, people fucking hate you. So
right.
It's very.
And that's why I don't play.
Yeah. It's a huge deterrent to people who don't play. I played both of them, but people hate you so quickly that it's like, why am I playing this?
Why am I doing this? That's why I play Heroes of the Storm, because Heroes of the Storm has a lot of like entry level ways to get into it, so that you can get decent before you go deal with people who hate you.
Yeah, I play Heroes of the Storm with a buddy of mine. That's the only time I ever play it, and then but they're fun games. And then I play Overwatch with him too, and I'm terrible, so I quit instantly.
Aww.
Well, it was the beta weekend. I don't have.
Yeah, you don't have it now.
Oh yeah,
No,
'cause
they're doing a good job of putting in those same sort of entry level starter points for people. Like there are training levels, and they just put in a versus AI, and the AI is not real bright, but it's still better than playing against players because you can actually stay alive and learn how to play rather than just be dead all the time.
oh no, I don't have it. Damn it! I went to see if I still have the Overwatch beta. I don't. I got sad. When is Overwatch coming out? Do you know?
So it's spring, is the in the very Blizzard fashion. It's when it's ready. So like the listed date is June 21st, which is like the last
The last day of spring.
Yeah, that's like the listed date on Amazon. But Jeff Kaplan, who's one of the lead designers on the game, has said, we did that because that's exactly why, because it's the last day of spring. It will be out in the spring, but we don't know when. It's the Blizzard soon PM. No.
They need to make another DLC for Diablo. Get on that, Blizzard. And I'll be happy again. Sad.
I'm sure they're listening.
I lost an entire night playing the Division beta last night.
Oh yeah.
I'm not getting that time back.
No.
You don't really play anything other than Overwatch, do you? That's all I'm hearing is Overwatch out of you.
Well, right now, because I can, and I do a show, so that's kind of no. But I play a lot of stuff. Right now I play mostly Blizzard, but I've expanded. I do a lot of stuff. I love indie games, especially. There's a few kind of weird ones from Steam that I like to play, but
Unravel just came out, and that's the one that I want to actually immerse myself in right now.
Yes. I was in Fallout 4 too.
Of course you were playing Fallout 4.
Because it's on my home turf. I have to.
What the hell? I backed the Visage, which was a horror game.
Yeah.
Need to Know, which is like a spying reconnaissance type game. It seems
weird. You're spying on Mark Antony?
Fuck you. What I do in my free time is between me and that man. It reminded me a lot of the Hacker Evolution games where you...
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm also looking forward to the Ship Remastered coming out tomorrow, which, for anyone old enough to remember its original release in 2004...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be good. Or a complete fucking disaster.
Little column A, little column B.
Dude, it's so hit or miss these days, and that sucks. Like,
yeah.
I bought Rainbow Six Siege and played it for about 20 minutes. Star Wars Battlefront, I kind of had the same relationship with.
Yeah.
That's why I was with Destiny.
One.
Destiny, I played through it, and I'm like, now what? And then they released an entire second game. But I did keep the Dying Light the Following, which I have to start playing again. Or start playing, period. But, I don't know. Enough about me. Corey, what do you do? You have pants on over there?
I'm wearing shorts.
Boy.
Like to let the breeze hit the boys.
Pants-free podcasting. It's the only way to go.
It is the only way to go.
Jogging pants on. My wife made me put pants on because we went to open houses today. I was so pissed. Like,
but it's Sunday.
Just thigh traps on. Yeah, it was a Sunday, but I saw people, so... You're not a big Simpsons fan, are you? No?
Not anymore. Not recently.
We were driving around in, like, a suburb of the city we live in.
Yeah.
So a much smaller city than the city I live in, because I don't live in a big city. But there was, like, one lady on all the real estate signs, and her name was Sandy Dufresne. And every time I'd see her, like, oh, Sandy Dufresne, she's real big on the west side. Right over my... Like, realtor. She's the best on the east side.
Outstanding.
You don't have to appease me. You don't even listen.
No, it's good.
I guess
if you also don't listen to our show, you can contact us by leaving us a message 805-328-3066, or you can go to the website, or you can email us at pot@gncast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Podcast of Terror, and Instagram also at Podcast of Terror. And you can follow Amy at deniouracosplay.com, or if you go to Facebook and look up Deniora Cosplay, you can find her there. And you can download her podcast, The Overcast. The Overcast, her with JF DeBow. I've also been listening to JF's Right Brain podcast.
I like that one. It's pretty good. I'm going to plug something. I'm going to plug something real quick because I am a fan of fantasy horror. and JF is actually funding a fantasy horror novel on Inkshares right now. I've read it. No, wait. So I've read it in its current iteration, which he'll be rewriting a lot of it, but that's the benefit of having a best friend who's a writer. You get to read shit before everybody else. So his awesome robot book, The Life Engineered, is it's officially out in like a week and a half.
I just got another 3 copies in the mail yesterday.
Yeah, I have 56 of them coming this week. I don't know what I did, but I'm going to build a little fort, and I'm going to live in it forever. But he's got another book funding on Inkshares right now called A God in the Shed. And it is fantasy horror. The cover of it right now is a very artfully disemboweled bird. It's incredible. I like this one better. And it's like still in its rough stages, and I'm way more into sci-fi, but
yeah, I'm more into fantasy and horror, and so I was really looking forward to this one. I think I've already supported it, but I was going to double check this week anyways.
Yeah.
And I was planning on doing a review of it on this podcast at some point.
Yeah, in the before time he made me buy it, and then I completely forgot about it. Then all of a sudden I got an email, and Inkshares is like, "Hey, your 3 copies of The Life Engineered are coming," and I'm like, I forgot about that. I bought more than 1 copy.
Yeah.
I'm not on Amy's level with 56,
I
but
had a lot of credits, and so that was, it seemed like such a good idea at the time until you get the shipping notification, and there were 2 of them because it won't all fit in one box.
Well, you can argue when 120 pounds of T-shirts show up at your house.
That's fine. It's all fine.
But you're supporting your best friend.
Yes. So go to inkshares.com, search for A God in the Shed, and support the hell out of that one because I really want him to rewrite it because I like it an awful lot.
Yeah, well, and Corey and I will eventually do some sort of review. I'm horrendous at reading. I'm very slow at reading. I do not like reading because I can't. Like, I have the attention span of a fucking child. If you listen to this podcast at all, which Amy does not, you're well aware of my very short attention span. Everybody should feel sorry for Corey for putting up with me, but that is what he signed up for.
Yep, it's true.
And, Amy, you can subscribe to this podcast via iTunes and Stitcher or your favorite podcatcher. You can leave us a review at whichever you like. All subscription options and links can be found under the subscribe tab at gncasts.com/pot.
Yep, and finally, you can join us on our Facebook page under Galactic Netcasts.
Next week on the podcast of terror.
Next week, we're going to be talking about D. Snyder's 1998 movie Strangeland.
The original that we just talked about the sequel to.
Mostly this came up because the news came out, and I said, Corey, we're going to watch this piece of shit.
And I said, God damn it, I guess we are. All right.
It's not a good movie, but it's a great movie. It's a good movie.
That's what we'll say today, and then we'll see how we treat it next week.
Fuck you. You're going to love it.
You're going to make me listen to the soundtrack in my car on the way, aren't you? You're going to be like, oh yeah, go listen to this shit.
Do you have a Spotify? Do you
I use Google Play.
Oh, well, I can't make the soundtrack to a Spotify playlist and then send it to you anymore. We're fighting.
Good. Okay.
But that's going to do it for this week's shit show of the podcast here. Once again, Amy, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And we will catch you next time.
Stay scary, everybody.